Hi everyone, welcome back to another Disney Infinity tutorial. Now I have been promising the Indiana Jones mineshaft run, and this actually is the level that we're going to work on, but this is the bit before we get to the mineshaft, so this is the first stage. And what you're seeing here, I've created an island, and underneath the island there's some caves and the mineshaft runs underneath that, so we'll explore that in my next clip, which is coming later this week. But what you'll see here is I've got individuals roaming the guard, and a few of the individuals have got little radars around them, and they're security guards. And basically, if I go up to those security guards, they're going to ask me for my documents. And if I haven't got identification documents, they are going to set the alarm off. Okay, so I need to make sure I find a spare set, and my spare set are stored here, hidden on the island. Yeah, so I'm expecting the user to find those before going into the base. Otherwise, the security guard is going to go off. So let's show you how this works, running it from the beginning. So when we start the level, we've docked our boat in the harbour and we've landed on this particular island, and there are security guards running around, and it says there you need to get your documents. So we're running around, and from my previous clip which I've shown you, you see there's a laser cannon there. No one's attacking me because I'm part of their team. So I showed you one how to become a spy. This is the same clip, but if I go up to this guard here, he's going to say identification documents please. Oops, I haven't got any. Now if I don't press the square button or do it, the alarms go off and everybody starts to attack me, and that makes the mission so much harder to do. So what I need to do in this level is I need to find documents so I can sneak into the base, otherwise I've got one massive battle. Yeah, so that's the object of this particular clip, and then as we go it'll lead on to the next one, which will show you how to do the mineshaft run. But there's just too many and I'll just get killed. Yeah. So let me just reset this and we'll show you how to do it properly without setting the alarm off. So this time we're going to find our document. Okay, so we're going to run around. To avoid security guards, you'll need to find your identification documents. So I've left the map quite barren, so it's easy for me to find, but you could put some more vegetation around and set your map up as you go. And like I said, none of the guards will affect you until we change, and that's because I've set you up to be part of the same team, so therefore they're not worried about you. So I was going to have other individuals work through. So there's some guards still roaming around. Now if I jump up here, there is some documents we found it, and when we get the document, it acknowledge that we found it. So I'm going to show you how to get that text to work and how to let your user know that's what you've done. So now that I've got the document, when I go up to them, if they ask to speak to me, I haven't got any issues. I can show them that. I can press the square button on that trigger. So as you'll see here, we go up to the guy, identification documents. Yeah, I pressed the button. Oh, sorry, Commander. I didn't know it was you. On your way. So no one's now going to stop it. So I'm going to show you all the logic on here. And one of the things that people have said that sometimes the logic I do is quite complicated. But the more you practice with these, the more that actually the logic becomes a little easier to do. But it gives you an idea of what we're trying to achieve in this clip. And I'm now going to break it down into simple stages how we put it together. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on a blank canvas. And if you're going to practice this, I wouldn't build your toy box. I would just practice the logic and get the logic working first. Okay, now the biggest trick that people say is that they have so many different interconnecting things going off. So things like the spaceship taking off, or the guards coming out, and you're trying to join these all together. So what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on one key point, is what starts this item all off. And if you notice from my other clips, I have mentioned it, and this logic gate here is going to be my starting point. Whenever I fire a signal in here, that tells me I'm ready to do the next stage. And then by breaking these key points off, it allows you to join your story together. It makes it a lot more easier for you to actually then connect these in parts. So if you look through my other clips, you'll notice that I constantly use a logic gate as my starting point, and then I'll use a button to fire it through on that screen. Right, so the thing we're going to use is we're going to use an enemy generator. You can't do this type of radar link with an enemy wave generator. It has to be a single enemy. Okay, so I need one of those. Yeah, I need a radar marker. Yeah, so I need one of those as well. And we also need one other thing. What do I need? I need a dynamic trigger as well, because the dynamic trigger is that when we walk into the area, we want it to ask that question. So I'm going to lay this out, and you'll see it. I'm spreading these out so I can see the connection clearly. And if you're testing this, try this on a blank area and get used to joining these various links together on the screen. Right, another thing I'm going to need is a locator, because that's where I want the enemy to spawn. So I'm going to put my locator here, just span them all out on the screen. Now, there's a few more that we're going to need, but we'll build these up so you can see how these work. Okay, so what we're going to do here is that we've got these various connections. So what we're going to say is that from this point, I'm going to connect all these items together. Yeah. So our starting point is going to be from the logic gate. So what we do is on output. What I can do now is on output, can you spawn me an enemy? So on there, I'm going to connect that up, and I'm going to do, yep, can you spawn me an enemy? And it's from Rise of the Empire, and I'm going to choose Imperial Officer. Okay, so that's now connected. So that will now get me an officer to appear, and that will at the moment appear onside that option. Yeah. So we go to properties. The thing we must change, and I keep forgetting to do that, change it to the blue team. We want to make sure that person is part of the blue team. Yeah. Otherwise, they'll instantly start attacking. Now, with this radar area, what we're going to do here is we're going to go to new actor connection. You'll see I'm not doing it the other way. I'm linking the radar to the screen. So when this enemy is created, it will link the radar to that particular person. But again, the property is not finished there. You need to go to the properties of the radar marker, and you'll see that it's linked to the area, not the toy. So you have to actually change the type. So you'll see I've changed it to highlight the yellow ring, but you must change the beacon mark to be the connected actor. Okay, it must be the connected actor, and I also want it to be active so it's on straight away. So that will create the circle around that individual. Yeah, so there's those settings there. So when that person appears, they will now get a yellow circle around them, and it will stay with that individual. Yeah. And now what we're going to do is, you'll see I'm linking into the locator, because when I want him to spawn, I want him to spawn in that location. I don't want him to spawn on that pressure pad. I don't need him to see that. So that pressure pad, when I finish, I will hide, and I'll leave locator on the screen. So to test this, I need a button. Yeah. And this could be some stage in my game that I fired it to. So when I want them to appear, I've just loaded the level. I'm going to send a signal to the gate. So I'm just using this button just to emulate the game starting. So on press, can we input a signal into here? And that button is going to be the key part that keeps re-triggering our level. Yeah, keep restarting. It could be on a game maker pad or something like that. Right, now if I test this, when I press that button, that guy should start attacking because he's on the blue team. So you'll see here the guy appears on that location, and he's going to start attacking because I'm not part of the blue team. So he's straight away highlighted. So let's get rid of him. So he's now dead. So far the radar works, and it sticks with the individual, which is quite good. So as this test, I'm going to need a little marker as well. Okay, so we need to make sure what happens to me. Make sure player 1 is part of that connection. So I'm going to add this blue team activator, and using that one trigger, when we fire a signal through, we're going to set all the players. So we're going to do new logic connection on output. All the players, we're going to link to that. I'm going to turn to the blue team. So set all players to the blue team. That means the guard will appear, and you now won't attack me because I'm now on that person's side. So we're all on the blue side, so we can just mingle in the city, and no one's going to kill us. So let's go back to this dynamic trigger. Now this dynamic trigger is like a walk-in trigger area. And we're going to do a actor connection, not a new logic connection, an actor connection, and link it to the enemy generator. And that means when that item spawns, that trigger is linked to the walk-in actor. Okay. Now one thing you must do is look. You'll see I've gone straight to the properties, and you must change it from this toy. I keep forgetting to do this, right? But you must connect it to the actor. So when people leave a message and say it hasn't worked, this tends to be where they've gone wrong. And I play around with this. I set this to 7, but actually I found 10 was probably the most appropriate distance. So this basically walk-in trigger area is linked to the actor, and if I go anywhere near a 10 area radius, it will then fire a button that says, right, we have now got that command being run. So let's go back and grab some other toys that we're going to need. Right, we need some more logic gates. Okay, and we also need. Let's go. What do we need? Dun, dun, dun. Don't need a randomizer. I always get confused with these places. Right, we need a context button. That is important, right? That context button is now going to give the user a prompt, and that's where we say we'd like you to please show me your identification documents. Yeah, so that's what's going to ask the user to do that. But what if the user doesn't press the button? What if they don't actually say, no, I don't want the button on there? So what we're going to do instead, we're going to say, right, okay, if they don't press the button, they have a time limit. They have 5 seconds to press the button. We've asked them the question, but if they don't do it, then we're going to set the alarm off anyway. And it's time I want. It's not time I want. Where is it? Again, I told you I keep getting lost here. You're seeing going back and forth. There it is, the time delay. So I'm going to set that up at the side. So we've got the content button and we've got the time delay. So those two are going to be set up. Okay, right. So now we've got those set up. What we're also going to need is a couple of logic gates. Okay, and these logic gates are going to know when we've done certain jobs, and these are going to open and close and give us different types of response. Okay, so I need two logic gates here. One is to send the output through, and one is to stop the timer to let us know that we've done the job. Okay, now from this logic gate we are then going to display a message, and that message is either going to be saying, right, you're a security guard or you're not. And the other one we're going to do is set the alarm off, and we need a repeater for the alarm. Yeah, and the repeater will keep the alarm going every 1 or 2 seconds. So I need a repeater, I need a text creator, so I'll put that there. And I do need one of those speakers. And like I say, if you're going to recreate this, to test this, don't do it on your current map, just do it on a blank environment and just get your logic plotted out so you've got all these sections here. And even when I make this go live in my game, I make sure I space it all out like this. Keep it nice and clear so you can see the joins. Yeah, it's really important that you can follow what you've done and why you've spaced them in a particular order. So I do space them all out and then I mess around with them afterwards. Now, like I mentioned, you've got this text tool that will stop in March. I keep preaching it, just going to make sure this message gets sent across. So I can either use my matrix tool or I can keep using these when I'm going to go through it. One of the things I think I've got planned during February is that I'm going to start making a load of ideas and stories and think of all the different types of scripts I'm going to use and add them to my own matrix. So I've got preparation for it. Different things like identification documents. Try and think of more things to my existing matrix so I can come up with those scenarios. So in this case here, I'm going to put the text one. So the first one will be, what I've got to do on setting here. Hold on, let me go through. Let's just set this up. Now obviously when I'm typing this, you can't see this on the screen, so it's a bit of a pause while I set this up on the screen. There we go. So we've got the text coming in, just confirms it. Yeah, sorry Commander, I don't know, I didn't know it was you. Carry on. So the first one is to say, right, we've got the papers. The second one says, I haven't got it, so we're going to say, guards, can you set the alarm off and can we stop them? So let's bring that one in, and again, you can't see that. So just type that in quickly. But while I'm doing that, that just basically, this is the tools, these are some of the tools that don't work, and the context button is another one that doesn't work. So get them pre-saved because you can reuse them once they're in there. Once the text is in, you can use it as many times as you like. I'm going to use it 3 seconds and I'm going to have it as a banner. I quite like the banner style. Right, so now we've got those two set up. That now is my 2 prompts. Okay, so 1 means we're okay, 2 means we've got an issue. Okay, now my timer. Now we're going to give a certain timer like 3 seconds to respond. So what I'm going to do is we're going to give them 5 seconds on our property. So if you don't press the button, then the alarm is going to kick off. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to do on the properties list. We've said it's the connected actor and it's on 7 places. So when we walk into that area, I'm going to do a new logic connection. When we enter in that radius, yeah, and it's not anything, it's got to be player, yeah, and it's any player. I would like you to start that delay. Okay. So we've given them a warning. So if you run off too late, you have to have the paper, right? We're also going to do a new logic connection. Okay, from here, because we walked into the area, when we enter that area, and it's a player, and it's any player, right, we're going to now also activate our context button, right, and that's the triggering player, so it'll give you that message on that screen. So we now go to the properties of this. What we can say here is, right, it's user defined. What prompt do we want to say? So we're going to ask it in there is identification documents, please. Yeah. So can we ask for? So it could be like a checkpoint. You could say, could you show me your paperwork for your droids? We could say, right, have you got the secret formula for the Avengers? It could be anything you like, and we're going to display this for 3 seconds. Yeah. It's going to be less than my timer. It must be less than my timer because you've got 3 seconds to press that button. Okay. Now, when you press that square button, yeah. What we're going to do here is new logic connection. When you press the button, say yes, I have got them. Yeah, so player, triggering player. We're going to input a signal into that logic gate. Now that logic gate is going to be closed if we found the documents. If we haven't found the documents, then we're going to go straight out and it will set the alarm off. So we say we haven't done it. Now if we don't press the button, I need to go to that signal. So we're going to say new logic connection. When that delay is complete, I would like you to input a signal into this logic gate. Okay, can you input a signal into there? So that says your timer's up, which will then relay another question on output. Can you input another signal back into here? Now the reason why we need the extra logic gate is that if we do press the button, I can switch off the gate. So if I press that button on this screen here, is that other gate is now we've done the job, so I don't want it to set the alarm off twice. So new logic connection, when pressed, right, we've done our job, we've done it, so triggering player, can we close that gate? That will stop the timer coming through and then repeating the whole process again, so it'll stop it passing through. So we need that like as a breaker. Yeah. In the meantime, we've still got the message coming through on the screen. So it comes through into here and says, right, what do you do? Now, if the message goes straight through, then we haven't got the document. If we have the documents, we're going to close that gate, but we're saying we haven't. So we can do on output, right, can we go and display the second text box, which means guards arresting. So that second display will appear. On output, can we also set the alarm off? So can we go to on output, can we go to our repeater, and can we start the repeater? Can you switch that on? Now when that switches on, yeah, so we can do new logic connection, on repeat, can we set the alarm off? So on repeat, can we set the alarm off? And we're going to go that general, and we're going to choose alarm. Okay, so that's going to repeat on the screen. Now I find with these the sounds, it's about a 2-second time scale, so make sure you set the repeater to about 2 seconds, which sort that item out. And another thing I wasn't aware of also, if you change the properties of the speaker, you can switch the 3D settings off. That will also stop it. So if you go to the properties of that speaker, that will then change the settings on there, so it will then hear wherever you are, otherwise you'll pick it on the screen, which we'll do in a moment. And there's one more thing that we need to do, is the alarm is going off, so we need to tell everybody that we're bad, so we need the orange marker, and we need to switch all the players to the orange marker. So on output, so you'll see I've laid it all out so you can see how it follows through. And on there, on output, can we set everyone to orange players, which means now the person is going to attack us. Okay, that now means they're going to pick us on the screen. Now on that speaker, like I mentioned, if you just go to the properties of that, we can change the settings of that setting, and we can just set it to be not on a 3D sound. Okay, but it's all laid out in a way that you can all see, and it's all clear for you to look at how the logic's picked up on the screen. It's a way of just practicing, getting used to that, and it's just once you've got that, then you can move them all out of the way once it's complete. Right, no, I don't need that at the moment. One thing we are going to need, don't need a button. Right, what we're going to do next is, once we press this button, every time we start here, I need to reset the game. The game has finished, yeah? So we know we're restarting the whole lot. So on output, what I want it to do is I want it to turn that repeater off. So if the alarm is on, it's going to switch the alarm off. Okay, so that will stop that from working. Okay. Now also, any other gates that we've done, we also need to reopen back up, because their default status is open. So basically we have to change those settings as well. Yeah, but in the meantime, let's just test it to start with. See if this works on the screen. Right, so we shoot the things, our guy will appear, and now look at that, he is not attacking us, yeah? He is just wandering his way, no problems at all. Now if I get too close, he's now going to say, identification please. Now you'll see the little flashing cursor on the time's gone out, I didn't press the button, and now he's attacking me. The alarm's going off, so I need to kill him now, get rid of him. So he's gone. But the alarm is still going, yeah? So if I shoot it again, the alarm goes off, resets everything, bloke comes up, identification please, and I press the button this time. I don't have the documents, so it still kicks me. Now this time the alarm goes off, but you'll notice it doesn't ask me a second time because we've already closed the gate. The alarm has already gone. Yeah, so that setting there is because I press the button, say yeah, here, press the square button and go, oops, you haven't got it. It stops it from then doing the same thing again a second time. It's just little things like that for setting it up which becomes a bit tricky on the screen. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our gameplay toys and we're going to find some documents that we're going to need to grab. So on this item here is when we grab this document, we have achieved what that person, when they ask it, that says, yes, you've done the job, you've done it correct. So in this case here, we can say, right, on collector that tool, so new logic connection, on broken or collected, yeah, which we can store, can we close that gate? Now by closing that gate is when we get asked the question, it won't then set the alarm off and it won't do the other option on the screen. So now we know that gate's closed, yeah, when that comes through and they all hit that signal, it's all going to be blocked. That signal is also going to be blocked. So what we can do here is we can do a new logic connection on there and say, right, when that item has been done, can we change things? So can we go right click onto there, new logic connection, when input blocked, can we display the first message which says, oh sorry, carry on your way, and it doesn't do anything else, no alarm is going to go off. That will sort the object off and they'll be happy to do that. Now obviously when I restart it, that has been broken and collected, so when I restart it I could set that to say just go and collect that particular cell. But they're all the elements that you need to get this to work, yeah? There's all there connected on that setting. Right? So what you're seeing here now is I've just gone to the text box and I've gone to my third text box. And what I want to do is actually say, well hold on, when I collect that, how do I know I've collected the document? Yeah, so what we're going to do here is we're going to just say identify documents found, and we're going to put that in text box 3. I'm just going to set that up on that screen. So you know when I showed you in the clip at the beginning, I was on top of the tree. When I found the documents, it let the user know you found the documents. Brilliant, you found them. Now I know we're safe, we can go into the base. So as I enter this into the box, right, so you'll see here we've got documents found. You have found identification documents, right, brilliant. So what we can do here now then, if we go back to that section, when we break that route, yeah, so new logic connection, when collected or broken, can we display text box message 3? Yeah, which is quite cool. So that will set that box on the screen. So every time we reset this, what can we do? Yeah, how do we make this so we can re-trigger this item again? A lot of you think, well, how do I reset without doing the reload? So on output, what we're going to say here is always reset that box. So can you reset it? So if we've broken it, that's going to bring it back. Right, on output as well. So new logic connection on output. Can we sort these gates out? Yeah, these gates need to be set to back to open. So can you open them all back up so it resets them all? And we need to do the other option. So new logic connection on output. And we need to reopen that one up. Okay, so we are now, everything there is for that one individual. Now there's a lot of logic there, and the sad news is, in my clip that you saw, I had 6 guards wandering around the place, which means I have to repeat this whole process 6 times. That's right, do it 6 times. Now there are ways of tidying the code up, but keep it simple, repeat each one at a time that you want, and remember, the enemy appears on the locator. All this will be hidden out of the way when you finish set them all up. So here's the guy walking around. Right, I don't need the guards getting to me, yeah? If I go up to him now, documentation please.
How did you get past
I haven't got the documents, let's kill him. Right, the alarm's all going off, everything's done here, oh dear. So if I restart the thing again, you'll see I'm also orange as well. Now when the guy reappears, everything's re-switched off. This time, I'm going to go and find the documents. Okay, we found the documents. Now when we go and see him, we should get a different response. Now that shows you how it all puts together. Yeah. Now we do it. It says, hey, sorry Commander, didn't know you were on your way. Please carry on. And that signal will fire through, but you'll notice nothing happened because that gate got closed. And like I showed you, if you look back at the map at the beginning, I repeated all that logic for every single person that I used. So the more you have, the more times you have to repeat it. But you can't have, that's the one thing to be aware of, you can't have the enemy respawn again and again, because it'll only remember the last person. All that logic is added to the last person that was ever spawned. Right, so, promise you now, my next clip will be the Indiana Jones cable car run, the mineshaft run, and then I've got my game of Rush, my Battlefield Rush type game. Hope you find these enjoyable. I've got more clips coming, and I've got more continuing even after the servers are switched off, so I'll still be doing these. Let me know if you like what I've done. Many thanks. Catch you later, guys. Cheers.